Okay, and as we talk about the upper limb, the arm, the forearm, and the actual bones of the hand, we're first going to start with the humerus, okay? So up there. We'll set this aside for just a second. So of these three bones, can you tell which one is the humerus? Yes, it's the much larger bone. And in fact, the humerus is going to have this head shape, okay? This large ball for the ball and socket, all right? So this is the head of the humerus. You can see there's a very obvious difference. The head of the humerus. We can see the neck, so you can see how this kind of ball section gets smaller along here. Okay, that's the neck right through here. And we actually have two different necks when we're talking about the humerus. There's only one on the femur. So we have the head, and this is the anatomical neck, where it gets narrower around the head. And then we have the surgical neck, basically where my fingers are wrapped around, which is actually where you're most likely to get a break, right through here. So anatomical neck, it's kind of at an angle, and then surgical neck right here. And then we have these special tubercles. A tubercle is like a bonious process that sticks out. So we have a greater tubercle here and a lesser tubercle. So the greater tubercle kind of sticks out opposite of the head right here. And then the lesser tubercle is a little smaller and a little bit more distal, okay? So head, greater tubercle, lesser tubercle. And in between the two tubercles, we have what we call the intertubercular groove. So inter meaning between, tubercular, between the tubercles, and it's a groove, okay? Your book may call it the intertubercular sulcus. Either one is correct. So that's right here between the two tubercles. And then as we work our way down on the bone, we're going to look at basically whether we're looking at the front or the back. So this really deep indention is going to be the back of the bone, the posterior side. This is the anterior side, okay? So if we're looking at the anterior side, we can actually see this. You can really see it from both sides, but we can actually see this section where the bone isn't quite straight, where it protrudes outward, right here, okay, in the middle area. We call that the deltoid tuberosity. And this is basically where the deltoid muscle is pulling against the bone, the deltoid tuberosity. All right, right along the shaft. And then as we work our way down, let's go and set the bone down. We're going to talk about several other features. So we see this section that almost looks like a scroll right here. Okay, this is called the trochlea. And then we see this big raised bump. That's the capitulum. So the trochlea and the capitulum. And then we can see two different epicondyles, okay? This is the medial epicondyle, this very large one. This is the lateral epicondyle. We can see those from the back a little bit better. So the medial epicondyle, the lateral epicondyle, all right? And then we can talk about the fossa. Remember, when we talk about fossa, we think about that being as a surface that it's going to articulate with whatever the other feature is. So for example, the mandibular fossa of the head was where the mandible articulates in with the skull. So here, when we talk about the coronoid fossa or the radial fossa or the olecranon fossa, it's going to be that surface of the humerus that articulates with the olecranon, with the radius, with the coronoid process. Okay? So trochlea and capitulum. Right above them, we see these little grooves. So just above your trochlea on the anterior side, right here, okay, towards your medial epicondyle, we have a face, a fossa. My finger's kind of sitting in it right there. Maybe you can see it a little better at a different angle. So see that little face right there, little hole. That is called the coronoid fossa. Right here, it's a little bit deeper. And this little shallower one is called the radial fossa. Coronoid fossa, radial fossa. Then if we look on the posterior side, this is the olecranon fossa. And the way we can think about that is your olecranon, right there, can hook into it. All right? And then if we flip it over, we can see that actually right around the trochlea, you have the coronoid fossa because the coronoid process can move along that side. And that leaves room for the radial fossa right here for the radius to move.